Ladies and gentlemen, we have some massive bowling ball news. We had 5 bowling balls get discontinued from various manufacturers, 4 of them being from Storm Products and 1 of them being from Motiv Bowling. Today, we are going to cover all 5 of those bowling balls and what you can replace them with or what you can use in their place if you can't get another one when your ball ends up going in the gutter. So, no pun intended. So, quick preface, these bowling balls can still be purchased. All 5 bowling balls I mentioned can still be purchased from the various manufacturers. You can buy it from your distributors, you can buy it from your local pro shop, from Bowler Smart, from Bowler X, all of that, but there is a limited quantity. The companies are not making this bowling ball anymore. They're not anymore being produced. So the limited quantity means that once these are gone, once these are off the market, they're gone forever. There aren't going to be any more. So if you like any of them, I would recommend picking one up to stash. There are some awesome bowling balls on this list that we are going to get into. Quick reminder, make sure you subscribe if you haven't. It helps me out a ton, and you get 15% extra pin carry at the next time that you bowl. Crazy amount, only if you subscribe to ZVL Bowling. Absolutely wild number. But let's get into these bowling balls. We have these 4 bowling balls from Storm Products International. We have the Summit Peak, the Virtual Energy Blackout, the Optimum Idle Solid, and the Harsh Reality Solid. Some absolute banger bowling balls on this list that are now gone forever. A couple surprises, a couple not so surprises. So let's do a quick rundown. Then we're going to go into a little more detail of every single ball and what you can replace it with. So starting on the left, we have the Storm Summit Peak. This ball had a really good run. This thing has been around well over a year, but this thing was an awesome league bowling ball. This was actually a really good ball for TV Bowling Supply, another YouTube channel. They have a couple pro shops, all that. This was one of their top 10 selling bowling balls of the year. So I was a little surprised to see it here. I thought it'd stick around a little longer because I assumed then it was selling well. Apparently it wasn't. Storm cuts things if they don't hit a certain margin or a certain point of sales for every month. So this ball must not have hit it. Very sad to see it go, but it has had a fantastic run. It's been around well over a year. This original Summit's been gone for a while, and the Summit Ascent is here to take its place, not in reaction wise, but to keep the Summit name living onward. Moving on to ball number 2, we have an absolute goated bowling ball in the Virtual Energy Blackout is gone. I was a little surprised to see this thing stick around for so long. I believe it's been over 2 years that this ball has been in production. This was the first Blackout Series bowling ball, bringing the Virtual Energy line back into Storm Bowling. Very sad to see it go. I know a ton of tournament bowlers are going to be really disappointed and are going to be picking this one up quick. So if you like the VEBO, I assume it's going to jump up in price, so I would pick one up sooner rather than later. Moving on, this is the biggest shock on the list, is the Optimum Idle Solid. After less than 1 year is gone. This ball hasn't been in production that long. And this is a remake of one of the best Roto Grip balls of the 21st century. Well, Roto Grip has been around mainly in the 21st century, but in the late 2010s, early 2020s, the Idle. So very surprising to see it go. This is a perfect remake in my opinion. It does exactly what the OG Idle did. It's slow, it's smooth, it controls the pocket, and it's really good for tournaments. That's why it's a little surprising to see this one go. Roto Grip doesn't have much in their catalog right now, and this slot is their solid bowling balls. There is virtually nothing there. They have the XL, and I believe that's it for solid bowling balls, minus the Hustles, of course. Very surprising to see it go. I'd assume this slot will be picked up and replaced very quickly. Otherwise, we're going to have a massive ASIM ball coming out. So very sad to see the Optimum go. I'm personally going to be picking up one more of these. And then we have the 900 Global Harsh Reality Solid. This was a remake to one of 900 Global's best-selling bowling balls, the 900 Global Reality. This one wasn't a very good remake in my opinion. It didn't act much like the Reality. This was a very strong bowling ball. Very strong, very tumbly, very smooth, very slow. Wasn't very good from further left, where the OG Reality was really good from all over the place. So this one was a little disappointing when it came out. It had the AI tech in the core. It had a stronger cover stock, so it wasn't gonna be a perfect remake. It was still a good bowling ball. It was a good ASIM solid, one of the better ones from SPI in the last 5 to 10 years. So a little disappointing to see it go, but we do have a really good ASIM solid from Storm that is really taking its place, and I think getting a ton of the sales. So let's get into every single bowling ball quick and what the difference and what we should replace them with. Starting with the Summit Peak, one you can't see, unfortunately, is the Zen 25 right next to me. You can see a little bit of it. That one would be a really good replacement of the Summit Peak. It's going to be a little cleaner, a little sharper. Cleaner means later hooking. A little bit sharper than the Summit Peak. Still a fantastic league bowling ball, so that is a really good replacement because the Summit Peak was really good at just blending a cliff for being a stronger pearl symmetrical bowling ball, and that's all of them that I'm listing, is the balls that I'm listing. The Zen 25, the Optimum Idol Pearl, and the Phase AI have stronger cores, medium to stronger strength cover stocks. This Summit Peak had a really strong cover stock, so all three of these balls could fit very well. They'll all be a little bit cleaner than the Summit Peak, but overall they fit pretty well in comparison. So the Optimum Idol Pearl, I think, is the closest comparison in my opinion. If we had to go in strength, just from order, I would go Summit Peak as the strongest, then the Optimum Pearl, then the Zen 25, then the Phase AI would be my guess right now, just because the Zen 25 hasn't come out yet. But that is what I think could replace this Summit Peak. Otherwise, the Summit Peak is still being sold. I did see it on discount in a couple places already. So because distributors found out about this information a bit early. So you could still pick one up, but if you don't want to pick one up, you want a different look, or you just don't like your Summit Peak, these are going to be three fantastic options for you. Zen 25, Optimum Pearl, and the Phase AI. Let's move on to ball number 2. We have the Virtual Energy Blackout, and we have two replacements for this one. We either have the 900 Global Origin or the Attention Star S2. I'm going to be very honest with you guys in that there isn't a very good replacement for this Virtual Energy Blackout. This thing was unique. It was strong, but it was very smooth and round. So we don't really have that from SPI anymore. This Origin is going to be the closest ball that we get to this. A little bit off in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be a perfect replacement. The Origin, in my opinion, is both earlier and sharper. But if you put a little surface on the Origin, drill it a little bit weaker, kind of counteract, you can get a Virtual Energy Blackout reaction. It'll be the closest thing you're going to get right now. The Attention Star is way too weak. Otherwise, the DNA coil is gone, so we don't have many ASIM pearls anymore. The harsh pearl is way too strong. So I think that would be the best difference, the best transfer from the VEBO to something else. The next one would be a stronger drilled Attention Star S2. The S2 is 1, a hybrid, 2, has a very weak cover stock, and 3 just has a weaker core in general, but I think a stronger drilled one could get close to what a VEBO does. The Attention Star S2 is very round, it isn't very directional when it starts to hook, just like how the VEBO was. So I think those are the two best differences and the best balls that can take the place of the VEBO. This one's going to be very severely missed though. Like I said, there really isn't anything almost on the market that actually replaces the VEBO. The closest ball I could really think of from other brands would be a Vaporized from Brunswick, but even that isn't perfectly accurate, a 1-to-1 difference. So this one is just so unique, it's going to be very tough to replace. And also it's going to be very tough to buy. So I recommend buying it early if you really, really want to stash one. Moving on to the next one. We have my baby, the Optimum Idol Solid, and we have two replacements. It's the only strong solid balls in Storm's lineup right now. They went from having a lot of these to not having many of these. A little bit disappointing, but we do have the Phase 2, and then we have the Sublime Focus. Both very strong, solid, symmetrical bowling balls. None of them as slow as the Optimum Solid, but they are pretty close. So for me, I have a Phase 2 and an Optimum Solid. I have the Phase 2 a little bit weaker and a bit sharper, and the Phase 2 actually likes angle more, so I can move further left with the Phase 2 compared to the Optimum Solid. The Optimum Solid is really good for playing straighter, whereas the Phase 2 is better from a little bit deeper. So that's really the big difference. So if you drill a Phase 2 stronger, you can make it act like an Optimum Solid. It is possible, but it's not the perfect separation. It's not the perfect replacement, just like how the Sublime Focus isn't either. The Sublime Focus is actually sharper than a Phase 2 in my opinion. So that might be a slightly worse replacement for the Optimum Solid, but it is possible to work. It is closer than a lot of other bowling balls. One more that I didn't mention on here is the Roto Grip XL. The XL is asymmetrical, but it is going to be fairly close to the Optimum Solid. Again, not a perfect replacement, but it's going to be a little bit earlier and honestly a little more down lane than the Optimum Solid. So if you just play with the layouts, play with the surfaces a little bit, you can get an Optimum Solid-esque reaction, but I don't think it can be perfect. This is another fairly unique reaction that I thought really rounded out SPI's arsenal. So I'm very sad to see it go. Really disappointed. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be picking one up. This one did have the AI tech on the core, which made it even smoother than a couple of the bowling balls that we have, like the Phase 2, because the Phase 2 doesn't have AI tech yet. So what AI core technology does, it makes the ball a little bit smoother down lane. It makes it hook a little bit earlier, in my opinion. So that's everything I have for the Optimum Solid. Very sad to see it go. May it rest in peace. And let's go to the final ball on the list. This is from 900 Global, and we have one singular replacement for this ball, and that is arguably one of the best asymmetrical solid balls on the market right now, the Ion Max. The Ion Max is being thrown everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Every tournament I go to, every tournament I watch, every league I see, there's an Ion Max somewhere. This thing is beloved by people. I can't believe how much people like this ball. I thought the colorway would cause people to not like it as much, but that white, pink, and purple is really adored by a lot of people. So that's good to see. Reaction-wise, the Ion Max, I think Luke Rosdahl said it best. The Ion Max is really just a better harsh reality solid. So it is just a little more dynamic, a little more versatile when you get further left, where the harsh reality was really best from 15 and everything right of 15, where this Ion Max is better from almost anywhere. It is good from straight, really good from straighter, but it also can play from fourth arrow. So if you need a replacement, I honestly wouldn't recommend picking up another harsh solid. I would recommend picking up an Ion Max instead. But I think the harsh solid will be pretty cheap in the next couple of weeks. I'd assume not many people are buying it anymore. I will be curious to see the prices. If you want to watch prices, go check out just any online retailer and you can see that price fluctuate all over the place. You're going to see some sales go up. I would assume this one would be on the sales list, but you never know. Also, I would assume that another company, either Roto or 900 Global, will make another asymmetrical solid ball to counteract this harsh solid being discontinued, because just having the Ion Max isn't the best for the companies. They usually don't like to do that. They like to have at least two big ASIMs on the market. So I'd assume within the next couple months, we'll see something else take this slot. That is everything I have for the Storm bowling balls being discontinued. Let me know down below in the comments if you have any questions on these or your reactions, or if you're going to pick any up. But we're not done with the video yet. We have one more bowling ball that we haven't mentioned. These are only 4 of the 5. Motiv Bowling discontinued a ball without me knowing it. Unfortunately, I don't really hear much of the Motiv retirements. They do it a little bit differently over there. I think they usually wait till a ball is pretty much sold out before they put it on the retirement list, and which is wild to me. So I don't know if you can still find this ball anywhere. If you do, it is the Motiv Raptor Fury. The Raptor Fury was a super strong symmetrical ball from Motiv. This was their strongest symmetrical ball forever until the Sub-Zero Forge came around. In my opinion, the Sub-Zero Forge pretty much just took over the Raptor Fury spot. We're going to see that on my little chart. I'm going to show this already. Sub-Zero Forge definitely took the place of it, in my opinion. It was just slightly better reaction, just in general. I was never personally a fan of this Raptor Fury. I like the idea of it. People love the Raptor line. I'm probably going to get some hate comments for saying it, but I just did not like this ball. I'm not the biggest fan of the Raptor Rush either. It's good. It's just a very smooth pearl ball because the core is so strong. Whereas the Sub-Zero Forge that I'm mainly covering right now, apologies for that again, it has a super strong core, super strong cover, but it seems to just be a little more versatile and a little more usable for a lot of people. I have seen this Raptor Fury, like just so many 710s, a couple of lilies, which were wild. The ball is just so strong that it burns up so early. So unless you're on lane surfaces that are super, super clean and a ball can get through the fronts really easily, this ball is just usually too much. So I think the Sub-Zero, and then even the Evoke. The Evoke is a little worse of a replacement than the Sub-Zero. I think the Sub-Zero is very, very close to the Fury. The Evoke is not as much because of its asymmetry, but the Evoke also can get through the fronts a little bit better than this Raptor Fury. So if you have a Fury and you're not a fan of it, and you need a ball to replace it, these would be my recommendations from Motiv, the Sub-Zero Forge and the Motiv Evoke. If you want something even stronger, the Jackal Onyx is officially released, so you can look at that also. That would be a little bit stronger than this Raptor Fury, but overall it looks to be a better ball in general. Very surprised, honestly, to see this Raptor Fury still around. I thought it would get discontinued a lot earlier, but it has made a great run. I bet it had a ton of sales. I bet a lot of people actually really enjoyed this ball. So may the Raptor Fury rest in peace. But with that, that is everything I have for the discontinued list for January. If I hear of any more, I will let you guys know in a video. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Helps me out a ton. And like I mentioned, 15% more pin carry. Otherwise, I will see you all on the next one.